Hey, what is up guys? It is Jed, and it's discussion time. I want every single person getting involved here. I want you to hear me out, and I want to hear you out. I want to try to change your mind. I want you to try and change mine. Type me out a comment. What is your ideal Fortnite? What changes need to be made? Is Fortnite already in a good spot? Scroll down in the comments right now and try to find someone that you disagree with. Debate them on it, but be sure to keep this civil. I'm going to be down there as well, trying to invest a lot of time into debating with people. I love this kind of stuff, and I want everyone involved here. So before I let this video start, there's two things I want to run by real quick. My channel is now accepting memberships, which means that if you press the join button, you'll be prompted to spend $5, which is like a Twitch subscription. It supports the creator, and it will give you access to a special role in my Discord channel. And you will also unlock certain badges to indicate how long you've actually been around on the channel. So if you do that, that would be greatly appreciated. And then also on top of that, subscribing. I am less than 20,000 subscribers to 100K. And if I could get there, that would be actually insane. I would get the plaque up on my wall and everything. I would actually feel like I really made it as a YouTuber. So yeah, please be sure to subscribe. I'm really trying to hit that 100K mark. I love you guys in advance, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. Okay, so today's video is going to be my highest effort video I've ever made. I'm going to be going over what my ideal Fortnite would be. I'm going to be talking about every single mechanic, feature, addition Fortnite has ever seen and how I would address it. I'm going to be talking about full reworks to current mechanics, completely new mechanics, and even going beyond what is possible to create the perfect Fortnite. There's going to be a lot of repeats if you adamantly follow this channel, but I think it's necessary to fit all of this into one video, and it's going to be a long one, so sit back and relax. Now, Epic Games has taken a lot of my suggestions and actually implemented them into the game. The scavenger pop-up was my exact recommendation that I have been mentioning for months now, and it played well enough for them to bring it back again and again. As of writing this script, after my pump problem video, they addressed the exact problem I was mentioning and also mentioned the exact reason that I stated as to why it's still in the game. They have vaulted a lot of guns I've recommended vaulting with my reasoning for vaulting them. They added materials to the loot pool in their disco domination-like mode, Food Fight, and now it's also in Team Rumble. There's a lot more they've done, but my point is there is a lot of things that Epic Games has done that I have called for. Now, it's very possible that these are independent reworks conveniently timed for right after I make certain videos talking about these issues. Either way, I want to make this video very clear to Epic Games if they happen to watch this. Hi Epic Games, I'm making this video because I believe I have the ideal Fortnite in mind. I'm going to try my hardest to also include the business goal of appealing to the casual demographic while also allowing the dedicated, hardcore demographic to remain rewarded and not feel as if their gameplay is being bottlenecked by mechanics that were specifically designed against them. So I'm going to break down every single topic on screen here. The timestamps are in the description in case you wanted to show this to a friend or someone willing to discuss a topic with you. After all, the sole purpose of this video is to start another necessary discussion. So I think it's only fair to start this video off with the biggest mechanic, the one that I have talked about probably the most, and that is Bloom. Bloom is what the community refers to as the current shooting model that all sprayable weapons have. I will go further in depth here to further elaborate on what we're actually experiencing when we fire a gun in Fortnite. So the first thing we need to learn is what a cone of fire is. The cone of fire is the 4 lines that surround your center dot. That is your cone of fire. What that means is that when you shoot a bullet, there is a chance that the bullet will land anywhere inside of that cone of fire. Meaning that if a bullet does land on that center dot, it is all luck. And the farther away those 4 lines are, the less and less chance it has to land on that center dot, because there's more area that those 4 lines are covering. Now, Bloom itself is what the 4 lines do when you fire a gun. If you notice how they shoot out and kind of expand and decrease when you're not firing, that is what Bloom is. Bloom is when it gets bigger after you shoot it, and that means the more and more you shoot it, the bigger and bigger it gets. The cone of fire increases in width. When the cone of fire is getting bigger because you're spraying a gun, that is Bloom. The last thing I want to define is what hit scan is. Fortnite utilizes hit scan outside of snipers and rockets or any other projectile I can't think of right now. What hit scan is the moment that you pull the trigger, the moment that your gun fires, the bullet has reached its destination. There's no travel time, it's instant. It just immediately appears at where your crosshair's looking at. You don't have to aim in front of your target to hit them. You just put your cone of fire right on your target and then shoot your gun, and the bullet is reaching its destination every single time. That is what hit scan is, and these three alone is what people refer to as bloom, and that is the game's shooting model. This system alone is completely random. It does not reward better aim. It does not reward precision. It rewards luckiness. The sole reason that this is in the game is to normalize aiming. A casual player or a player that doesn't have the mechanical skill to keep their center dot on their opponent should theoretically lose to a player that has no trouble keeping their center dot on their opponent. The player with better aim should win all the time, with the exception of lucky anomalies. However, this current shooting model that exists in Fortnite makes it so that when you shoot a gun, that bullet could go anywhere within the cone of fire, meaning that if you and another player both put your center dot directly on each other, it is completely random who is going to win that fight. There is nothing in your power you can do to guarantee your win. You cannot outplay random, you cannot master random, you cannot get better with random. You roll the dice and hope you win. This is the core issue with this shooting model. They've added a system to combat this mechanic and its random nature. First shot accuracy. First shot accuracy allows for your bullet to shoot straight 100% of the time if a few requirements are checked. First, you must be standing completely still. You cannot have any amount of movement to get first shot accuracy. You cannot have recently moved. There's a little cooldown after you stop moving and take aim. It's not instant. This waiting period could be potentially dangerous if you stand out in the open waiting for first shot accuracy. The third thing that needs to be checked is you cannot have recently fired. This promotes tap firing, which is good. The issue with first shot accuracy, and I've discussed it further in this video right here, you can find that in the description down below, is that it's very awkward to sit still, not shooting or moving, waiting for this first shot accuracy to kick in. It's potentially game ending that you must sit there and wait for your crosshair to activate first shot accuracy. So how do you fix this mess of a shooting model? Well, I've been saying this ever since I really made a presence in the Fortnite community. In my ideal Fortnite, I would add projectiles with bullet drop and 100% accuracy, even while spraying. Recoil will still exist, just no more random spread within the cone of fire. If you are good enough, you can predict where the bullets will be 100% of the time. Newer or more casual players who still haven't learned the bullet drop or projectile speed will still have the option to spray bullets and bust down structures. This is the portion that is casual friendly in a skill-based shooting model. A good player will just put their crosshair exactly where it needs to be to consistently hit their shots every single time, to consistently beat the player who hasn't taken the time to learn the bullet drop or speed, and that's the goal here, leaving the better player with the mechanics to consistently win fights and minimize the random fights that could put the casual player on top. Also, yes, this system is superior on PC, and it will be a chore for console players to adapt, and probably impossible for mobile players to adapt to. But PC is better as far as precision, so naturally when you implement a system that requires aim, PC will be on top. Epic Games has repeatedly tried to normalize the gameplay to give even mobile players a chance against a PC player, and under no circumstance should that ever be a reality. If you opted for the platform that offers an objectively better aiming system, you should consistently beat those who didn't. This system is better on PC, just like any skill-based shooting model should be. So that is it. In my ideal Fortnite, the shooting model, you would shoot projectiles just like the sniper. I mean, obviously you can tweak the speed and drop, but every time you shoot, the bullet is not reaching its destination immediately. There is a travel time that you can predict and can account for. So the next main topic that I want to talk about is building/material gathering. This is in major need of attention. Building has seen so many negative adjustments and counters implemented into the game, it's almost laughable how much Epic Games has abused the mechanic that made them popular. Building is weak compared to what it used to be, and this is why. The llama nerf, miniguns, any SMG in the game, hand cannon buff, heavy sniper, the rocket launcher, the grenade launcher, the quad launcher, the guided missile, the drum gun, the light machine gun, remote explosives, the floor drop nerf, the explosive buff, the building health nerf, the bed nerf, the willow tree nerf, the faster harvesting fix, impulses, shockwaves, grapplers, clingers, dynamite, stink bomb, mounted turret, balloons, hop rocks, jetpacks, shadowstones, and the quad crasher. I'm sure there are more things here that I haven't accounted for. I don't understand Epic Games' obsession with nerfing this mechanic through counters and the tiniest adjustments to slow the rate of gathering it. A lot of people like to say that building was overpowered. It never is overpowered. Even back in season 2 and 3, I don't think I ever heard the words building is overpowered. People have a tendency to reflect on the game and compare building to how it is now and say that it was overpowered back in the day. I just don't agree. If the shooting model was consistent and skill-based, I don't think I would see a problem with building seeing such harsh adjustments. but it's the fact that building is one of the most important skill-based mechanics utilized in an overwhelming majority of fights in Fortnite. This is the skill gap. This is what separates you and I. This is how we can determine who is good, who is bad, who is better, who is worse. This is the core mechanic that made this game what it is, and I don't see that as overpowered. Back when building was strong, the game was more skill-based than ever. You didn't spray people down if you couldn't keep up with them. You couldn't just throw an explosive and destroy their hopes and dreams of competing with you. You built to outplay. If they were on high ground, you built ceilings and ramps above your head to stop the shower of bullets, then found ways to work your way up in between clips of AR ammo. You didn't just get a C4 placed on you and give up. If you wanted to beat someone, you built. No cheat mechanics, no free kills, no bullshit items, you simply outplayed to win. And that is exactly how it should be. So what would I do in my perfect Fortnite? Well, I think it's very simple. Blitz V1. Or something we can all relate to right now, food fight. 100% material gathering, reasonable floor drops, supply drops give a lot of materials. If you get a lot of kills, you deserve to be walking out of early game with a stack of 999 wood. That's risk reward. Now you have the resources necessary to propel you through your next fight. You don't have to sit and hit trees even though you won early game. You have collected your reward and are ready to fight again. So some might ask, how do you counter building in my perfect Fortnite? You shoot it. Use your AR. No bullshit explosives. Just shoot it. That's probably the strongest counter we need. If you want to commit to shooting someone down, you need to expose yourself and commit to the risk of shooting someone down. You can't just throw something from behind cover or peek for half a second, shoot a rocket, and blow up half the map. If you want to counter building, use your AR. The next thing I want to talk about is the weapon roster. The weapon roster in Fortnite was too big at launch, and to be honest, it's just obnoxious now. There are absolutely way too many guns in Fortnite, and the reason this is a problem is because most of them use bloom. Some worse than others, and when you land early game and building really isn't an option, you need to rely on your gun and your gun only to win you the fight. You need a consistent gun. A shotgun. Shotguns do not use bloom. They are not random. Shotguns are 100% consistent 100% of the time. But the issue is, how am I supposed to find a shotgun when there are all these weapons taking up its only drop location? Floor drops. That's just one example of how it could be bad for the game. Another is, how are you supposed to go to a chest and be guaranteed a weapon that will help you? If I land on a chest and get a white machine gun and the guy next to me gets a golden rocket launcher, how am I supposed to outplay that? Lining up my cone of fire and praying my shots hit before he clicks his mouse one time and losing anyway despite having perfect tracking on his body with my SMG because only 4 shots hit because of bloom. There's too much of this going on. In my perfect Fortnite, chest loot would be 1 AR. No rarity, no special colors if you're lucky enough to get them. 1 AR every single chest, along with an assortment of healing items and materials and AR ammo. Floor loot would be reserved for the pump shotgun. No rarities, no colors, just 1 pump and pump ammo. Supply drops would be reserved for the bolt sniper. No rarities, no colors, just 1 bolt, that's it. That's my weapon roster, and that's where to get them. Some people might be thinking this is a bit extreme, but I disagree. Keep in mind, you're also using my new shooting model. Every AR bullet goes straight with travel time and drop. No bloom, no hit scan. Every single fight is going to be fair, consistent, and skill-based. No one will get cucked because they got a grenade launcher to challenge a shotgun with. On top of this, I would reduce the amount of inventory slots to 3, at least for weapons. I would leave 1 open for the only 2 throwables I would allow in the game, regular grenades and the old smoke grenades. And the other slot would be reserved for stackable healing items and a way to toggle through them. This is it. This will make sure that everyone can land and consistently count on getting a weapon that will help them and have a skill-based fight, and the better man wins. The next big thing that I think needs to be addressed in my perfect Fortnite would be the healing system. The healing system is something that I've always had a problem with. It is so luck dependent. I can only get a full shield if I'm lucky enough to find a big pot, slurp, or chug, which none of these are common. I can only heal to full if I find a medkit, slurp, or apples, or campfire. In my perfect Fortnite, first off, I would do away with the shield system. Doubling your health bar is just unfair and requires the person with no shield to put in much more work to win. I would obviously readjust damage values to compensate, probably AR shots to 25, 50 to the head, the bolt hits for 75 to the body, insta-kill and headshot, and lastly I think the pump should hit for maybe 70, 80 to the body and insta-kill and headshot, but with a much tighter spread, sort of like the heavy. Now that this has been adjusted, the only healing items in the game would be bandages and medkits. Bandages would be a very short 2-second channeled heal that when activated, it gives you a heal over time, but they have a stacking effect. Let's say 1 bandage heals you for 15 health at a rate of 3 health a second, which means it would take 5 seconds to heal a total of 15 health. If you pop another bandage while you're still healing that first 15 health, you're now healing at 6 health a second until your first bandage reaches 15 health total. Then you continue healing at 3 a second until the second one finishes. Bandages would no longer have a 75 health cap on them. You can heal all the way to full with a stacking heal. I would rework medkits to be a 7-second channeled heal that when activated heals you to full instantly. Medkits would obviously be less common than bandages, but everyone has access to full heals due to bandages being really common in my Perfect Fortnite. Bandages would also have a much higher stack limit to them, like 50 or something. Medkits would have a lower one, like 5 or something. And that's it. It's very simple, very easy to learn, very casual friendly. Every single person has access to it and access to fair fights where you're starting off fully healed. So my next topic is actually very short, and that is the map. This one is very simple. Bring back the preseason 1 map. There. Perfect. We didn't have this overpopulated mess of points of interest. You landed on 3 main spots or a little landmark here or there. Not 1 main spot and a little landmark here or there. The preseason 1 map, it was simple. No fancy map events floating around or shadowstone deposits. Just give us the old map back. There are 2 core gameplay changes that I think Fortnite needs to see, so I would obviously add these into my Perfect Fortnite, and that is a proper shoulder swap mechanic. I hate the situations where you have to left shoulder peek and they get the first shot because they technically have line of sight first because they get a peek over their right shoulder. There needs to be a hotkey that you just press it and you swap shoulder. That way you can have a fair line of sight check and it will be a fair fight. That's something that would be in my Perfect Fortnite. I think a shoulder swap is greatly needed. Also, another thing in my Perfect Fortnite, I think this might be a little bit more of a controversial one, but I would do away with the knocked mechanic completely. Like, if you take 100 damage and you were to go down, like, you should die. I don't believe in second chances. If you take a fight and you lose it, you do not deserve to be in the game still. You lost. You need to be out or spectating. So that's what I would do. The knocked mechanic, just take it completely out of the game. The last thing I would like to talk about is explosives. All explosives should be vaulted except for standard gray grenades. This is your counter to building, or a way to force a reposition. No rockets, no grenade launchers, no clingers, dynamite, C4, guided missile, none of it. Splash damage does not take skill to use. It needs to be taken out of the game. Simple as that. Make casuals and the rocket mains actually have to put in effort to get kills. And grenades are pretty good. They can do a lot of work. You can knock down a large building with a few grenades. You just have to know how to throw them, know how to bounce them against objects to get them to land exactly where you want. Nobody uses grenades. Like, no one carries a stack of grenades on them anymore. And I would like that. Like in my Perfect Fortnite, I just want a dedicated slot where everyone has like a grenade. Like, it could be on a cooldown or something so people just don't spam like 5 grenades every single time they get in a fight. I think you should be able to throw a grenade, force a reposition or something, and then, you know, go back to taking a fight with your gun. So I think there should be some sort of regulation on how fast you can actually throw them. So I'm actually surprised I got this video done as quick as I did. I don't know how long this video is going to come out, but in my Audacity recording, I have been recording for 34 minutes now. Lots of retakes and a lot of mess ups. But anyway, this Perfect Fortnite that I've just illustrated for you, I would like to call it Gednite. Let's get a hashtag going, boys. In the comments, hashtag Gednite. Let's go crazy with this title. Let's make people understand that this is the direction that Fortnite needs to go. Simplicity and skill-based mechanics. Instead of trying to overstuff this game to try to desperately appeal to their casual demographic. Gednite LTM. I'm excited already.